you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have a certain path to be able to get where you want to go. Find out where you want to go. If you want to be a lead electrician, you want to be a lead construction guy somewhere out in the field, go for it, man.
This is the Construction Leading Edge podcast from ConstructionLeadingEdge.com and ConstructionBusinessAccelerator.com. My name is Todd DeWalt, and it's my job to help you eliminate chaos and maximize the profit in your construction business. This is the podcast for the small construction business owner. Got a great interview for you today with Joel Krugjohann from Knoxville, Tennessee. He owns an electrical contracting business, and here's what you're going to get out of this interview. You're going to learn, what does Joel mean by, quote, the only way out is through. You'll also hear what Joel means when he says commitment can be infectious. You'll learn why a statement like, can I do this, is better than, quote, what can I do? The difference between crockpot and microwave thinking, why you can never really be fully prepared to own or start a construction business, the surprising parallels between marriage and business, why Joel says that giving first is a seed planted, and what would be Joel's advice to his 20-year-old self. This one might surprise you. This is a great conversation. I got a lot out of it. I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of it as well. A couple of resources that I want to get in your hands before we get to that interview. As a contractor, look, you manage a ton of jobs every day, and trying to keep up to speed and ensure that the work actually gets done probably takes up way too much time, and that's where Company Cam comes in. Every photo that your guys take at a job is automatically organized by location and instantly synced from the field to wherever you are. Now you'll know exactly what's happening across your company, be able to communicate more effectively, and cover your butt from future claims. Document your jobs, communicate with your crews, and protect your company, all with Company Cam, the only app that every contractor needs. You can claim your 14-day free trial of Company Cam, plus get 50% off your first 2 months at companycam.com/CLE. That's companycam.com/CLE. One of the things that I hear most often is, Todd, I need systems and processes. I need processes and systems. I need to systematize my business. So I put together a free video series that's only going to be available for a short time. And here's what you're going to get out of this video series. One, you're going to identify the real root causes of your issues. You're going to get yourself in a position so you can stop treating the symptoms, which could actually be making your problems worse. You'll uncover some of the not so apparent problems that are causing your cash flow and productivity issues. And you'll learn the secret to setting up a process in a way that people will actually use it. This will apply to whether you're trying to get people to fill out daily reports or use a piece of software or whatever it is. You'll learn the secret to setting up a process. And maybe more importantly, you'll learn the mistake that I made and you are probably making when you're trying to implement a process. I want you to get your free video series, Systematize Your Construction Business. This will help you whether you're planning to start a business, whether you own a business, if you're a project manager or a general manager, wherever you're at. If you want to systematize your business or your processes or your projects, then go get your hands on these free videos. Systematize Your Construction Business. It's only available for a short time. Go to ConstructionBusinessAccelerator.com. Put your email address in. You'll instantly go to the first video, and you'll learn how to get to the root cause of the problems you're dealing with. So go to ConstructionBusinessAccelerator.com to get your free videos. In addition to wanting to systematize their business, a lot of people tell me, Todd, I've got more work than ever before. I have more people than ever before. My revenue is higher than it's ever been, but I'm not making money. I don't understand it. I have lots of backlog. I have lots of people. I'm estimating right, but I'm not making money. And a lot of people are dealing with profit bleeds. They're bleeding profit. They're hemorrhaging cash through these areas. They know, they can feel it, but they don't know where it's coming from. So here's what I put together. I'm going to have a live event called The Advance in Southwest Florida. It's bottom line growth hacks and secrets for builders and contractors. And here's what you're going to get when you attend The Advance. You're going to learn how to boost your bottom line without hiring more people or finding more customers. You're going to learn how to triage the, quote, profit bleeds that might be causing you to hemorrhage cash. You're going to learn how to schedule for profit and reduce cycle times on your projects, how to maximize the productivity of your workforce. You're going to learn how to properly nail the handoff of a project to reduce mistakes, reduce chaos, and reduce rework. You're going to get away from your business for a couple of days and spend it with a group of other construction business owners where, frankly, you can develop relationships with people that you can contact after the event is over, and it could be the best part of it. So I'm going to give you an excuse to get away from your business for a couple of days so you can work on your business instead of being stuck working in it, and you're going to be able to do it in beautiful Fort Myers Beach, Florida. April 2nd and 3rd, 2020, The Advance Bottom Line Growth Hacks and Secrets for Builders and Contractors. Live event, Fort Myers, Florida. It's going to be great. This is the best thing I can do for you if you are a construction business owner. Early bird pricing goes away February 15th. So go to constructionbusinessaccelerator.com/advance and grab your spot before they're gone. Constructionbusinessaccelerator.com/advance. And I'll see you at the Bottom Line Growth Hacks and Secrets for Builders, Contractors live event there in Southwest Florida. Now, without further ado, let's get to my interview with Joel Krugjohann. Enjoy. Joel, thanks for being on the podcast. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great.
Awesome. So let's just jump into it. Tell us a little bit about your current business, what kind of work you do, and what part of the country you're in.
Well, we are Urban Electric. We are in Knoxville, Tennessee. We service East Tennessee and some of the surrounding states. We do electrical work for commercial builders, residential builders, and we do some industrial stuff. And I've been here for about a couple of years. I originally started as an operations manager and was recently, within the last year, asked to be a part owner in this business.
Got it. What kind of work were you doing as an operations manager before you joined your current company?
I was managing another firm doing operational work. We did actually similar things, but honestly, probably more commercial work, heavy into commercial work, not much residential work, and some industrial there as well.
Got it. And I want to talk about that transition into ownership some more, because I think there are a lot of people who are on both sides of that equation, of the succession planning equation. But how'd you get started in construction? Like, did you start out in the trades? Did you come through college? Did you stumble into construction? How did you get started?
Well, I was 25 years old, and my dad, he was worked in construction. He was a low voltage technician, service technician, and so he was like the resident electrician, so to speak, for the family. And flippantly, he said one day, he was kind of agitated, and he said, "Man, you should be an electrician." And the inference there was, so I don't have to do the electrical work around the place. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I can do that. And so I had just worked like jobs, just not really a career at that point. And I just decided, yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I worked myself through ranks, and I did a 4-year apprenticeship school and graduated from there. And then I became a service technician, and then I became a foreman, and then just kind of rose the ranks through the trades and became a project manager, and ultimately ending up being a operations manager for an electrical company. And that's kind of kind of how it happened.
Yeah. Okay. And let's talk about that transition into ownership. How did that come about?
Well, I got an offer to become an operations manager for a particular company, and I think the idea was to let's get this guy on board, let's get him hired, and we want to basically give him the reins so that he has buy-in. So he has, because the company had a couple of previous operations managers that didn't pan out, and they really wanted somebody that was all vested and all in, and wanted somebody to really just take the thing and run with it. Well, because the other owner is not an electrician, and so, I mean, that's pretty much all I've done. So they felt like I was a good fit, and so then there's basically like this courtship for about a year, and we both kind of came to terms, and it was like, yeah, this is a good thing. Let's go for it. So that's kind of how it happened.
Gotcha. And if you could go back and give yourself some advice about something that has surprised you going through that process, or something that would have prepared you better going through that courtship process, what would you do differently, or what would you tell yourself?
Well, the thing that the first thing that kind of pops in my mind is, with business, there's in my mind there's a lot of parallels between business and marriage, and so with that being said, at the beginning stage or the courtship stage, you do all you can to learn about that person and, find out what they like, what they don't like, what they value, what they don't value. And then you sort of see if that aligns. And for me, I mean, it all seemed to make sense. But, a lot of times we go into things and we're like, man, I can make a quick buck, or this will be easy, or, this is not really truly vetting the possibility. And I feel like I did that, and that seemed to work for me, which I would advocate anybody doing that. But for somebody who has like a type A personality, I would say that there are certain things in life that you can never be fully prepared for. And in my opinion, some of those things are like getting married. You can't ever be fully prepared for every angle, or even having kids. And what I'm finding out, even having teenagers is fun. But there's this thing that you want to prepare all you can and look at it at every angle and do your homework and find out, is this a good, even a relationally fit? Does this fit my skill set? And that was definitely a key for me. And the second thing, and of course, the second parallel to that in my mind is the level of commitment. So, in marriage, I believe, you get married and you burn the ships, and, the only way out is through. And so I just think that mentality of just being sold and committed, those two things for me were key.
Yeah, that's good advice. I like that. The only way out is through. So let's talk about when you made the decision, as you were making the decision to step into an ownership role in this company. What was your decision-making process, and what were some of your biggest concerns?
Well, quite honestly, it's kind of funny because I've actually owned an electrical company before, and it was more or less out of necessity. And in 2008, everybody knows about what an crash that was. Well, that meant at that point, I was running a project at a large industrial plant, and just the money, they just decided they were going to pull the plug. Well, then I had trouble finding a job, so I was like, well, how about I start a business? And I don't recommend that at all. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to provide for your family. I'm all for that, but that's not the most ideal circumstances. So I really had no idea what I was doing. And after 4 or 5 years, I believe, I decided that roller coaster, it was really, at that point, I had small children, and it was really tough. And I had some really great highs and some really big lows, and it was difficult. And so I came out of that season thinking, well, all through that process, I thought, there's really no way to do a partnership. I just don't see how that could work. And I just don't see, people basically making that work, because I don't know, maybe I was just too much of a control freak or whatever. But, I end up coming to this company with an opportunity to work with somebody who, I mean, it's just phenomenal. This guy is phenomenal. I think the world of him, and I think that he is an amazing individual, successful, and has integrity. And so when I decided to buy into this business, that was definitely a huge consideration, is who am I linking myself up with? Is this somebody that I will be better for linking up with? Well, how will that play out? What do I see this future-wise? And really, it was a no-brainer. It was a slam dunk, and to think that I had to do everything myself, and that it all had to be my way, and that, other people really don't have that much to contribute, because I feel like I'm a smart guy, and if I make a mistake, I know how not to make the same mistake again. But really, there's great value in learning from other people and getting that. So I'd say going into that, I really, that was definitely a positive thought process. And the scary things, never really, I mean, when I bought into the company, there was definitely some areas that needed improvement. But when you have a goal in mind, and you have, as an ownership standpoint, you have a goal, I think some of those scary things will pan themselves out, especially if you have a plan, or if you have people that are dedicated. I mean, you can't teach character. I mean, you can, but if you have a baseline of good character and people working together, I think that's a really big thing. And when it comes to the trades, I try to tend to gravitate toward character than skill set, or like actual skills, because that stuff can be easily trained, right? So if you got people that you are linked up with that have strong character, and honestly, that's, in this day and age, can be a little bit harder to find, but that's kind of the stuff that I look for. And we went through a process, because things weren't exactly perfect when I got here, but we're definitely moving in the right direction.
So what would you say was your biggest concern as you were making that decision to step into this ownership role?
If I had to just say one thing, I'd probably say liability, because business is risk. I mean, it's all about risk and reward. So as a business owner, you put in your name on the line, your reputation, and if you do well, I mean, you should be rewarded well. And so the liability aspect probably made my wife a little bit more nervous than I should be, but I tend to be sort of a jump in, let's do it. If there's a mistake, we'll fix it. Let's just keep on going.
Yeah.
But if I had to say the liability aspect, and especially after already going through basically a failed business, I didn't want to be in that same position of going back.
You said something earlier about commitment and how important commitment is. Some people would think that it's having the right strategy, having the right plan, having the right information is the most important thing. Some people would say it's like, well, it's all about commitment. How committed are you? You mentioned burning the ships. Talk about that a little bit. How powerful is it when you burn the ships and you don't have a plan B?
It's kind of like, it just reminds me of my uncle. And he told me one time, he said, I actually was telling, he told me this too, but he was telling my brother-in-law, he said, he was in a job that he felt like he was stuck, and he was frustrated about where he was going, but he didn't have a place to go. And so he said his advice was, just quit. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, that's kind of dangerous. He goes, yeah, but you'll figure it out. You got a family, you got to provide for your family. And so, there is definitely a value in going, you know what, I got to make this happen. There's no other option. There's no plan B. This is who I am. This is what I'm committed to. This is what I'm about. And, there's definitely a reward in that. And honestly, it's infectious. So like if you, as a business owner, if you walk in and you're thinking, I got payroll to meet, I got to do this, I got to do that, I'm so behind, whatever. But if you've got a resolve as this is me, Urban Electric for me is me. That's one and the same. That's synonymous. So I can't afford to let that even translate to my employees, because what happens is then there's all kinds of unrest, unsettling, looking for the door. No, if you've got that resolve, that translates to even how you pay your bills. You're going to go out there and you're going to go, man, I need to jump on my AR so that I can pay my invoices. I mean, this is me. This is who I am. This is my name, and it's definitely a powerful. I mean, information is definitely important. Having the right tools is important, but I think having that level of commitment is a great baseline or a great foundation to be able to build off of. Because if you got one eye on the back door, or a plan B, are you really using all your efforts into something that, could potentially be, a really great career, a really great business? I mean, you'll never know if you don't have all the eggs in that basket.
That is so true. And that's something that I realized way too late in my career. I probably spent 10 or 15 years always looking for the door, always hedging my bets, thinking, well, this is just a short-term thing, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll go somewhere else. And I was never fully invested. And then one of the very first guys I interviewed on the podcast, Torrey Hawkins, he started an industrial commercial construction business in 2008 in Houston, like worst part of the country and the worst time ever. And he said, I had to burn the ships. And he did it. So yeah, it's a very counterintuitive principle, but if you want to make something happen, it's not all about calculation. As I heard somebody say once, commit, then calculate. You commit, then you'll figure it out because you have to. It's the death ground principle, or the desperate ground principle that Sun Tzu talks about in The Art of War. It's like, if you want to see people fully engaged, then put yourself in a desperate situation where there is no way out. Yeah. Good stuff. So let me ask you this. What is one thing you believed about owning a business before you were a business owner that you were surprised to find out wasn't true?
Yes. The flexibility of the schedule, it sounds pretty simple, but, I always thought that it would be really nice to just be flexible with my schedule. And, I really enjoy, now I probably work a lot just because I love the business and I enjoy it, but just having, as an employee or an hourly employee, the concept of, it kind of frustrated me, to be honest, a little bit, because, you only get paid when you work, which sounds kind of goofy, but like, I'm about getting things done. So like, I like to be able to, if I need to work longer, to be able to get a certain thing done and then relax. But if, as an hourly employee, you tend to think, I would not like for my employees to think this way, but it's like, I get paid by the hour, so I need to get my 40. There's that. But if as a business owner I have the flexibility, I'm not an hourly employee. I can work when I want to, and it's really allowed me, even personally, to do other things and have a certain lifestyle that I've really grown accustomed to, that I really like.
Gotcha. But was there something that you thought, maybe this goes back to pre-2008, that you thought, well, business owners, owning a business is like this, or you had some preconceived notion, something you believed to be true, that you found out wasn't true after you did own a business?
It was definitely harder than what I thought it would be. I thought, growing up in the trades, you have this general mentality that, how hard is it to sit in an office and answer phone calls? And gosh, I've definitely learned there is much more, even processing anything in the office. It just, you constantly think about it, as a person in the field, and kudos to all the guys that work in the field and they think about their job after the fact. But as a business owner, you don't ever, I don't, maybe I should not think about problems or situations or whatever, but that was definitely one thing that I thought, as a field employee, I thought, well, the office, and particularly ownership, all they have to do is basically look at a few prints, make a few phone calls, and, kick back and watch the money roll in. And it's not that automatic. And honestly, the hardest thing is, it was a little surprising, was managing people. And, I could put nuts and bolts together all day long. In fact, sometimes that even sounds so appealing. I'll just leave the office and go put some wires together and make something happen and build something and be satisfied. That's the awesome thing about the trades, is you get to build stuff and you get to see it. And when you work in your own town, you get to drive around and you get to tell your kids and your wife, hey, I did this, I did that, I did that. And that's an amazing feeling. But, as being a field employee and looking at the office, that was definitely a wake-up call very fast, is how hard it is, and the managing people, even from an owner standpoint, because you're the last line of defense. The people you answer to are your clients, which, the lifeblood of that company as far as your revenue. So it's, you can't just pack up. I mean, you could pack up and go to somebody else, but you want to treat your clients well. So
yeah, no, that's good. That's good. How has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? And then do you have kind of sounds funny, but a favorite failure of yours? Like, for example, I'll share an example. In 2007, I had a really secure job with a huge company, and I decided to go out and go to work for a real estate developer on this huge project, $70 million landmark project. And there was going to be a string of other developments going on after that. And that was 2007. And this little blip in the economy happened in 2008. And then I found myself being unemployed in 2010 when that project ended. So I was kicking myself like, man, Todd, you walked away from a good job. You really screwed the pooch here. And I ended up in the completely different industry. And for several years, I was like, what is going on here? I've really messed up. But then what I thought was a setback, but it turned out to be a setup, and it all worked out. And frankly, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't made what appeared to be really dumb decisions back in 2007. So I'm curious, how has a failure or what appeared to be a failure set you up for later success?
I could probably name 1,000 failures, but trying to think of the best way to communicate this. When I had a business in 2008, and I mean, that was just an epic failure, but it really served a purpose. And if nothing else, well, in that time period, I got the opportunity. There's so many blessings in disguise. So in that time period, I had a person who needed some major mentoring. And so I was able to hire him, and he worked for me for several years. And when I went to close the doors, he begged me to, he told me he would work for me for free.
Wow.
And which was amazing. He's an incredible man. And now he's an electrician, and he's a very smart individual and is doing really well. But aside from that, in that time period, I had developed a relationship with the owner of the company that I'm at now. And I had partnered. It's so interwoven, but without getting too terribly detailed, I had subcontracted to my current company, which was owned by somebody else at the time. Well, their current owner, but I had developed this relationship, and I had subcontracted to him. I was like, I'm looking for work. I need stuff to do. How about, I step in there, I'm turnkey, you just give me the job, I'll do it at, obviously at a cheap rate. That way you're making money, I'm making money, and we call it a win. Well, we did, I think, 1 or 2 projects together, and, it was a good relationship, but it just didn't pan out. Well, I think it's years later, and for whatever reason, this owner contacts me and offers me a job to come work here and then ultimately be part owner. And so if I had not failed in this business, I mean, I honestly believe that I did not have the tools or the skill set or the experience all through those years, that from when I failed my business and I was able to work for another contractor, build all kinds of relationships and skill sets in that time period, if I had not gone through that, I would not be prepared for where I am today. And it's just amazing where, you think that you are in a position where it's just complete failure, and how things can turn around. It's just really miraculous. And I don't know if it was your podcast that I listened to this on, but I remember hearing something recently that you don't lose, you learn. And I just thought that's really a good key to remember when you feel like a failure and you just feel like a failure and things aren't panning out. No, this is not a losing moment. This is a learning moment. And whether it's your fault or whether it's not your fault, you can still learn something, and then that can make you better or even better prepared for what's coming up ahead.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that's such good stuff. Yeah, I can't take credit for that one, but I've learned that how you look at failure is really a function of how far back are you going to stand back and look at this situation? Are you going to look at it as like today? Look at it from a 2-week period, from a 5-year period, from an eternal perspective. It's really all about perspective. But no, that's great stuff. Thank you for sharing that. If you could go back and give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Okay, so I know I got this from you. I would say, you're the problem. Talking to myself, you're the problem. It's totally amazing how, I could think of 100 different instances where if I truly analyze what's going on and truly analyze the root cause, because, going through your content and the stuff that, I've picked up from you and learning some of those root causes, it's like I would get mental blocks halfway through, and I'm like, well, this is the problem right here. Well, let's dig a little bit deeper, and finding out that I am the root cause a lot of the times is a game changer, because it's tough to swallow, but at the same time, it's an easy fix, more or less. I mean, if you don't know what's going on, that's definitely a problem, because you don't even know where to start. I mean, you're just floundering around. But if you know that you're the problem, then you don't have to look far for the fix.
Yeah. That's the bad news is you're the problem, but that's also the good news, because you should have a lot of influence over yourself. Can you give an example of what you mean by like, I'm the problem?
Let's see. Here's some low-hanging fruit. My guy, I'm quite embarrassed to say this, but my guys have told me when I walk in the door that it would be nice if I said hello to them. And, I'm coming to work. I've got a mindset. I'm thinking I've got to do X, Y, Z. I'm not typically a morning guy, but, I would love to be. Kudos to all the people that can do that. But I'm in the morning. I'm focused. My office door is close to my front door. I walk in, and so they've told me, they said, it'd be nice if you said hello. And now, typically a bunch of guys my guys in the morning aren't like the super jovial, throw a fanfare when I walk in the door. So it's like, in my mind, it's maybe how different people perceive things. So like in my mind, it's like, we're here to work. Let's just, get on with it. We don't need a fanfare. We don't need a party. But when they told me that, I thought, well, you guys aren't that jovial. We're men. We're here to get a job done. What's the big deal? But it really, I was the problem. And honestly, everything falls on me, and I set the tone. And so that's where I need to be a better leader. So I made the effort to, and quite to be honest, when I come in and I say hi, and I've been intentional about that. It's not like this overwhelming response. Oh, we're so glad that you said hi to me. Right. So it's just, like this more low key or whatever. And sometimes it's really, really a positive response. But, that them communicating that to me, it just means that means something to them. And, it's important to listen to your employees. It's important to get feedback because, the sad thing is they could be upset one day and then that's just, more the stick that broke the camel's back, right? So, the more you listen and get feedback and realize you are the problem. So, how can you make it better? And it was just such an easy thing to do. I mean, it's more of a habit, and just walk in and do my thing, but, acknowledge that they're there and acknowledge that, they've come to work for you. They've come to give you, their services, give you really honestly, part of their life. It sounds a little overly dramatic, but in a sense, they're giving you their life and working as a team, and that's so important. And it's such a morale killer if the owner comes in and he just basically barely does the head nod and comes in. It's just not the best. So that's one example that I can low-hanging fruit that I can think of. Man, this is easy stuff. You just need to go ahead and say good morning to these guys.
That's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. So let's talk about the skilled trades. What's some advice that you would give to a smart, driven high school student who's about to enter the real world? And then what advice should they ignore?
First thing that comes to mind, I did apprenticeship school. I did a 4-year apprenticeship school. I would, if I'm going into a trade, especially a skilled trade, I would definitely get whatever apprenticeship course you can get. And honestly, for me, and maybe this is something that other contractors can do. When I first came in the trade, I was told that if I go through the 4 years of apprenticeship school, that they would reimburse me for all my books. So the company had paid for my my schooling, like the registration, that part throughout the year, and then I had to pay for my books. I actually had to pay for my registration and my books, which ended up back in the day, I think it was like a total of $1,500 to $2,000. And at the end of the 4 years, because I had stayed with them, that they reimbursed me for all that. And so basically I got a free education for a career, which was amazing. And but I would try to, if I'm giving advice to somebody, I'd say find somebody that's willing to invest in you. And then also just be a sponge. Learn all you can. I've always had the mindset that, no job is too beneath me, and willing to learn from anybody, because, and what I would kind of jumping a little bit, but while I was in school, I did not do well. And I don't mean by scholastically. I was at the top of my class. The problem is I just learned absolutely nothing. And the only reason was I did not apply myself. And I could have learned so much from that class. So my advice is you get what you put in. So I didn't put anything in, even though I got great grades. It doesn't matter. My value, I didn't increase my own personal brand by, so I would just say, learn all you can, and put into it, and you will get out of it. And sometimes, there are some jobs that how I even got in the office, I'm trying to remember how that happened, but it just was so organically, I was willing to do whatever for whatever. So it kind of well versed me. When I was in the field, I learned all kinds of different PLCs. I learned all the different. I've done commercial, industrial, residential. I've done huge, ginormous custom homes, and I've always been that sponge to get in there and go, what can I learn? What can I learn? Because the more I learn, the more valuable I am to. I've done low voltage work. I mean, I've just done a wide range of stuff, and just make yourself available. And one thing that I think that a lot of people don't really realize, especially if you're young and is when you ask your boss, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? In my mind, I am hearing, I've got something to do. I've got to find something for you to do. You've just created more work for me. Mm. So my advice is to say, look for things to do. So just, can I do this? So say the trash is full or whatever, say, can I take this trash? I mean, if it's really low, obvious stuff like cleaning up, but like if there's things that look like they need to be done, can I do X, Y, Z for you? Well, that's an easier decision for me to make, because I can be like, no, that's way beyond your capabilities. Or I'd be like, oh, well, shoot, yeah, no, I don't have to take care of that. You've offloaded something instead of put something on me. So I would, just learn all you can. Make yourself available. Look for ways to be valuable, and whether you have aspirations to be, the top lead guy in the field or the top foreman or even an owner, just look for opportunities to help and give, and you'll make your mark in the field for sure. Yeah. Because we're all, construction is based upon service. We are providing a service.
That's great advice. Yeah, great advice. I love that. Can I do this is better than what can I do? That makes so much sense. What's some advice that young people should ignore, in your opinion?
That's not my job. Ignore this whole thing of not my job. Really is really detrimental to. And honestly, I don't know if. Not against education, and I'm not against any of that stuff, but you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have a certain path to be able to get where you want to go. Find out where you want to go. If you want to be a lead electrician, you want to be a lead construction guy somewhere out in the field, go for it, man. Just enjoy that. Be who you're wanting to be. If you want to be an owner, go for it. But there is not always a set plan that you have to follow. I say make yourself available to the right people, and the path will be provided. And sometimes it's just one step away, or it's just just the one foot in front of the other. But definitely ignore that's not my job, because I think that's kind of goes along with what I said previously about making yourself available. It's just like you will, for some reason, it seems more common to just say, I don't want to do that, or that's not my job. And the people that decide that they're going to be a sponge and decide that they're going to make themselves available will just shine even more.
Yeah, great advice. Yeah, that's not my job. That doesn't work that's really unattractive to general contractors. It's unattractive to lead carpenters. It's unattractive to owners reps. It's unattractive to business owners. So yeah, that's great advice. we may have already covered this, but I'll ask it again. What is the number one thing you look for when you're interviewing a potential employee?
I would definitely say character. What and how they interact with me, and I try to look for key things. That is this guy personable? Is this guy able to take care of the client? Because ultimately, my clients are looking for an experience. They're looking for, an enjoyable experience, and that's where I start. Do I see my clients interacting with this person in a positive way? Like in construction, people look for relationships and they look for people they like. I've seen clients turn down on the positive side for me, and on the negative, unfortunately. But I've seen people get awarded projects not based upon price, but based upon the relationship, and we like this guy. Or even I've had, unfortunately, for our area, the 2017 National Electrical Codes were very extensive and very expensive, and I had to raise my rates. Well, we've had clients that are like, "That's expensive, but we want you." And so when I'm looking at potential employees, I'm thinking, do I see them interacting, even if it's an apprentice, because it's very important for even apprentices to act respectfully. And I have to preach this all the time, but if an electrician is on a job site and they're working, do I see this guy making sure that the area is clean? Because you could have the best electrician out there, I mean, bar none, smartest, most intelligent, could do anything. But if his area or work site is dirty, nobody's going to think highly of this person. But if I have an average or even a little below average electrician and he's got a clean area, that guy will get the benefit of the doubt every time. And so that's the other thing is, do I see this person being neat and tidy and present our brand, our company well, and we can teach the skill set and the how-tos and the nuts and bolts much easier than we can communicate and clean up your stuff every day. And that's I mean, you ask a general contractor, they'd probably even say the same thing. If they've got a sub that always cleans up after themselves, well, that's a very easy selling point when you go to presenting in a cost plus situation, because we do have cost plus builders that are like, oh yeah, these guys, they clean up after themselves. And when a homeowner walks into their brand new dream house, they're thinking, wow, this is awesome. Oh man, I can hardly walk around here. This is a dump.
Yeah, I'm afraid to walk through and knock over a spit cup or a half-empty, half-full jug of Mountain Dew, and there's trash all over the place. Yeah, there are some leading indicators. Like I've walked through dozens and dozens of job sites, and I can tell who the good subcontractors are and who the good GCs are, because I look at cleanliness and safety. And if they're clean and they're working safely, they're probably a pretty good contractor, definitely. So good advice. What's something that you believe to be true about business that some might think is unconventional or maybe even a little crazy?
I'd probably say, I don't know if it's super unconventional, or it may seem crazy, but the first thing that comes to my mind is the word give. Even, when you may or may not have the ability to give, you definitely have the ability to give. So I can think of a few examples. One is the first year I was here, I decided I wanted to build my relationships with some of my key project managers. And what I did is I teamed up with a local New Start bakery, and I said, I need you to make I need you to make some cookies, and I want you to individually wrap them, and I want you to put the names on them, and I'm going to deliver them to these project managers. And so that really meant a lot to a lot of my clients, and developed that relationship. And another thing, this is kind of interesting, but I put on our Facebook, I can't quote it verbatim, but this was the essence of it, is I said, I want you guys to nominate a charity of your choice, and we will give a extremely discounted rate to them, to whatever need that they want. Well, I honestly didn't get any nominations, which was a little sad, and I was disappointed that I didn't get this opportunity to really bless another charity. But in the middle of that, I got responses from some clients that said, man, I really appreciate you doing that. That was so generous of you, and it really opened up a conversation with some really good clients that, I'm building that rapport. They're seeing what kind of company that we want to be, and we want to give back to our community. We don't want to be just going out. We want to make a buck and take your bucks, and that's really not who we are. We want to be a positive presence in the community and give back. And this whole idea, I've shared this with you before, but in order for me to get new clients, what I do is I go there and greet whoever's at the front desk, and I kind of look around and kind of see how big of an office it is, and I'll look around and offer, I said, my name is Joel. I'm looking for any projects that you want bid, or any prices, proposals you need. We'd love to take care of that for you. And I make a mental note of how big this office is. Then I wait a couple weeks later, and then I go get some Krispy Kremes or some duck donuts or some really good donuts. And I, based upon my assessment of how big the company is, I'm going to get that many donuts. And then I come back, I put my business card on it, on the box of donuts, and I bring them down there, and I just say, I really appreciate you guys. Here's some donuts. Have a blast. Goodbye. I don't ask for anything. I don't ask to bid anything. I don't ask to talk to anybody. And that strategy has brought me, I can't tell you how much work. It's just phenomenal. And it's this concept of giving. It's not, it's a very delicate line to walk, because, obviously I'm trying to get either a new relationship or, a new relationship, but I even do that with my existing clients too. But, it's not this mindset of, yes, I'm trying to finagle some dollars out of you and try to, get some business from you. It's not that mindset. It's like, I want to bless you. I want to give to you. I want to add value to your company. I want you to have a great day. And so I know if somebody comes in my office and brings me donuts or brings me whatever, man, that's awesome. It's this giving. And sometimes giving first is really the seed planted. And it's not really groundbreaking or crazy. And it may feel crazy because you might not have very much money. But, kind of circling back a little bit to saying hi to my employees, that's an easy way to give. I mean, if giving, you will receive.
Yeah, no, that's That's great advice. I'm a huge fan of business development with donuts. I've generated an incredible amount of revenue from donuts, and in more general terms, yeah, going first. Just go first. Give donuts, promote people, make people feel good, and it will always come back to you. And selfishly, it makes you feel good. That's what I've heard, is that
Yeah.
being generous and giving is actually pretty selfish in a way, because you get more out of it than they do potentially. And it's almost like this whole thing is set up in a way that generosity is rewarded. It's almost like there's a design, and there are these principles that you can follow. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
sow and
absolutely.
you will reap. Yeah. Great
Yes.
stuff. So tell me about one person who's had a really significant influence on your career and your business.
Ooh. That is a good question. You, Todd. You were the man.
that wasn't a softball. I appreciate that. But
I would actually, to be quite honest, you are definitely part of it. I would also say, let's see, it's hard to point to one person, but because I think it's important. I mean, there might be some people that have I can't think of somebody that's super gifted in several sports. The first person I thought of was Patrick Mahomes, but somebody who can do all kinds of different things or whatever. That's their, all pro, this, that, and the other. But I've more had like this eclectic, experience of where I've gotten. My grandfather, he was a pastor of a church, and he was an amazing, and it is an amazing man. And the character and the integrity that he's had over the years is phenomenal. I mean, I can't even think of a more just man of integrity, and he's owned businesses over his lifetime, and I'd have to say him and my father, he was he's definitely has a strong work ethic. And my business partner, he's very intelligent and very business savvy, and so I try to gather the many different people in my life that and pick, not to say that they're deficient in other areas, but I try to take the best of what I feel that would benefit me. And my uncle, I can't forget him. He his business savvy and his mindset. I actually worked. He is in manufacturing, and when I was 16, he gave me the opportunity to work for him doing CAD drawings. And he told me, I was young. I was young, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But he told me, he said, you have to be consistent. Like, you're giving me this product of these drawings, but the problem is this drawing is like this, and this drawing's like that, and they don't make sense. If you're going to fail, if you're going to do it wrong, at least do it consistently wrong or do it consistently right. And so that is like branded on my mind. So, there's just different things that, you pick up, or from my life experience, I've just picked up from different people.
Yeah, good stuff. If you ran into somebody at an event, or they called you and they said, Joel, man, I'm planning to start my own business, and you could only ask them one question that they really need to think about, what would that question be?
I think that's a pretty easy question, but it would be why. Because to me, that's really the most important question, is why are you starting a business? Because that's going to be your fuel. That's going to be your energy for keeping it going when those you're going to have to pound on some doors to get get payroll met. It's going to be the why that gets you through, that says, when you've got, employees that you just are not working out, or you're going to have to find new employees to keep this thing running, or it's going to be the why that, it's going to be the driving force. And even, it's also the why is also going to help when you get to that place where you want to be, that you can relax and know that you've done a good job. That's really, you have to know your why. That's foundational, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people skip right to the what or the how and don't even think about the why. And I believe that that's a root cause of a lot of the problems, is people, they don't know why they're doing it, or they're doing something that they're not passionate about. So yeah, great stuff. Great advice. So you had, you mentioned you've been in the Construction Business Accelerator program. You attended one of the advanced live events in Lexington, Kentucky, wearing an orange Tennessee hat, which was pretty audacious, by the way. I don't think I ever saw you without that hat.
I'm wearing it right now, if that makes you feel better.
But what value, if any, have you gotten out of being in the Construction Business Accelerator program or attending one of the advanced live events?
Well, for the Construction Business Accelerator program, I really love it because I'm not a microwave thinker, and what I mean by that is I stew on things. I'm more like a crockpot, right? So I stew on things, but what I know. And so I think with having the ability to go back and basically more or less cherry pick, or from like a gold mine, you just walk into this mint and pull out nuggets that you need, or things that you're working through, has been really instrumental. I think if I'm going to be specific, I'd say, there's so much to choose from. The whole root cause stuff was definitely eye-opening, and I kind of alluded to that earlier. The right to left thinking was really great. It really put glasses, or put into focus, where, I love to work. I love this business. I love the trades. I love what I do. And so it's easy to get caught up into, well, I'm working, you can work, but there's also the thing of, well, let's put definitions on this. Let's put like a target. Because that's part of, I guess, my problem is, like, I like to work. So if I'm working, that should be good enough. No, not really. We need a goal. We need a target. We're not an hourly employee anymore. We need to, make sure we've got a right to left thinking, to where we've got a destination. I've got goals. I got personal goals and personal plans on top of the business goals. And, just working, just motion isn't enough. And it's, quite honestly, it's not enough for me. It's not enough for my family, and it's definitely not enough for my guys. They need to be able to know that we're growing and doing things, and that sort of thing. So, but specifically, the right to left thinking was definitely a game changer, and it's really great that the way it's set up, you can just go back in there and focus in, because, like I said, I am I stew on things. So, like, and I need to take it in bites. There's just so much in there that I can't, I would love to go in there like a buffet and just eat everything and just consume it, but I can't practice everything all at the same time. So, and that's something I got to work through. But just taking one thing and really churning it through, is something I like to do. So anyway, the right to left thinking, back on task, it was really a game changer for me, and realizing that the root cause stuff, that was definitely a game changer. And honestly, I've been working through that the last month, realizing that I am the problem.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you sharing that. So I started doing these live events called the Advance, and you came to one in Lexington, Kentucky, and there were about 15 or 20 rowdy, sometimes inappropriate guys that came. What do you think was the most valuable part of the Advance for you?
Well, I'll say two things. One is I knew that the content was going to be awesome. So I brought my project manager with me, and I'll tell you what his response was to all of it. He told me, he said that the Advance was phenomenal. And he told me that the stuff that he learned, he was able to bring home to his wife, which she has a little side business going on. And, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she's going to take some of the same principles to work in that little side business, and it's not even in the construction industry. Also, and secondly, he said, he's like, the stuff that you're talking about at the Advance is stuff that is great, even life principles. So he was totally pumped afterwards, and he had not really gotten a whole lot of chance to listen to your material before then, so he was really blown away. The next thing I was going to say was, for me, being at the Advance was probably the most valuable thing. I'll say it this way. The most surprisingly valuable thing was the ability to connect with other people that are not in my field, in construction, but not in my field, that were, just different parts of the country, and we're able to sit down, let our hair down, talk about things, and realize that, we're not alone. We're in the same boat. We go through the same struggles. We have the same issues with manpower, with clients, with this, that, and the other. And it's like, wow. And honestly, I was able to form some really good relationships, and it even got to the point where it was really personal. I mean, we talked numbers, even like who would, I mean, that sounds scary to a lot of people, even myself. I mean, talk about, as a business owner, talking to another contractor about your numbers and figuring out, well, do you do it this way there? And do you do it that way here? And it was really, really, you can't put a price tag on that. It was really priceless. And I still communicate with some of those people today as far as, just staying accountable and talking with them. And so it's really, it was a phenomenal experience.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate it. And I realized that, well, in the event, I think I drew a pie chart. It said, like, here's the total value that you're going to get out of this event. And maybe a quarter of it was the content, which I think it's good content because it's my content. But frankly, the majority of the value you're going to get, the lasting value from these events, is the relationships that you develop with those people from all over the country. So good. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm glad it was valuable. Well, I really appreciate all the time and generosity. This has been a great conversation. It's going to help a lot of people. If people want to connect with you, whether it's on social media, go to your website, apply for a job, whatever the case may be, where's the best place they can go to connect with you, Joel?
I have a website. It's www.urbanknox.net. That's URBANKNOX.net. And you can contact me through there, or my email is joel@urbanknox.net. Also, you can just feel free to email me, contact me through my website.
Fantastic. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate it. And let me know what I can do to help you, man.
Awesome. This is great. Appreciate it.
There you go. Be sure to connect with Joel and thank him. Let him know how much you appreciate that, what you got out of this podcast. And he's a good dude. Even though he wears a Tennessee hat when he's in Lexington, Kentucky, he is still a pretty good guy. I got a nice review on Apple Podcasts that I wanted to share with you. This is from D. Ross14, and here's what D. Ross14 said. This is really the only podcast I listen to. Todd talks about a variety of current, pertinent topics and brings in specialized guests to interview. Really helpful to hear insight from around the country on how to run a successful business in the current market. So D. Ross14, if that's you, I appreciate it. And if you could take a minute, do me a favor and leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Google Podcasts, whatever you're listening on. If you could do me a favor and leave a rating and a review, that'll help get the word out there and make this available to other people. So don't forget, go sign up for Company Cam. And with Company Cam, there's no more second guessing on what's getting done or pestering your crews to send you pictures. Every photo that your guys take at a job is automatically organized by location and instantly synced from the field to wherever you are. Now you'll know exactly what's happening across your company. Claim your free 14-day trial, plus get 50% off your first 2 months at companycam.com/CLE. Be sure to check out and get your free video series, Systematize Your Construction Business. Learn how to get to the root cause. Frankly, that first video is one of the most powerful things that I teach people, how to identify the root cause of their issue. So if you don't watch any of the other videos, go to constructionbusinessaccelerator.com, sign up. You'll watch the first video on how to identify the root cause. It's going to change your life. And then if you want to get away from your business for a couple of days and you want to identify the profit bleeds and you want to maximize, you want to go home with strategies that will help you maximize your bottom line. I'm talking about improving your bottom line without finding more customers and without hiring more people. If you feel like you're bleeding cash and you don't know where it's going, then go to constructionbusinessaccelerator.com/advance. Come spend a couple of days with me and a group of other construction business owners learning strategies that will help you maximize your bottom line. That's at constructionbusinessaccelerator.com/advance. And if you aren't sure where you need to go, or you're driving and you can only remember one thing, but you need some more information, send me a text. 859-667-2015. Let me know what you're looking for. If it's information on the advance, information on Company Cam, information on Systematize Your Construction Business, if you want to set up a call with me to talk about one of my coaching programs, whatever you need help with, send me a text or shoot me an email, todd@constructionleadingedge.com. Thank you for listening. I will see you next time.